Tim Donovan, BBC London.
There are calls for the government to provide more help for homeless charities so that night shelters can open safely for winter. Most night shelters that provide communal sleeping facilities will be unable to open as it gets colder due to the pandemic. With some warning, this could put lives lead to deaths on our streets. One charity now wants rapid testing, as Thomas Magill reports.
Wash your hands consistently.
A busy start to the week at Chelsea Methodist Church. It provides lunches for the homeless and those in need.
Is that fruit bread?
We came across Simon in the queue. He's been homeless since July and now relies on places like this since the money he used to make from the Big Issue plummeted.
I normally sell 35 a week, down to 10 to 15 a week. It means I have to rely on the services at hand, whether they be the food drops, the proverbial soup kitchens, or like this day centre here.
And now the prospect of winter on the streets is yet another concern, as many night shelters say they won't be able to open this year due to COVID-19.
I know how to survive. It's just a question of waking up next to a dead body or something. It's just not going to be a pretty sight. The cold is one thing, the wet and the rain and the windy cold is all those kind of climatic moments that come and go. To sustain them, you have to be pretty resilient.
Last year, 25 night shelters opened for the winter in London, providing 645 beds every night for those on the streets. The problem is many of those beds were in communal halls with shared facilities, all no longer possible due to COVID-19. The government says it's supporting rough sleepers through a range of measures, including millions of pounds of funding for local authorities. But experts say a more robust strategy is needed.
We think this is a good start, but we need a longer-term funding strategy to ensure we can keep people off the streets, get them in for good in the winter period and beyond.
Simon is thankful he has enough food for now, and with a very limited number of single rooms available this winter, he's also hopeful he won't be walking these streets for long.
And what a horrible night it is out there in West London. The heavens just opened about an hour ago. I've spent the day here at Chelsea Methodist Church, where it's a bit of a hub for homeless support services. And in fact, these guys, hi everyone, they're the second batch of volunteers to use this kitchen today. These guys are launching a new project, cooking dinner for around 30 homeless people today. That will be served in about half an hour's time in the dining room, where we can speak to the CEO of Glassdoor that's launching the project, Lucy Abraham. Lucy, you can see today that providing food for the homeless is relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
It's the night shelters that seem a big problem. They're a no-go, but you think you have a solution for the government you'd like to consider. What's that?
Absolutely. So as you say, with providing the meals, we're able to very easily adapt. But the problem with overnight shelters at the moment is that shared airspace is a real risk for the transmission of COVID. So what we're asking the government is to make rapid testing available to the homeless population, and in particular to night shelters like Glassdoor, which would enable us to open up safely to many, many more people.
And very briefly, your concern if that doesn't happen for homeless people on the streets of London this winter?
So the concern is that people will be out in the streets, and very likely some people might die in the cold. There are not the places available that there would normally be, with shelters across the country not able to operate.
Lucy, thank you for taking the time tonight. Well, they will be starting to come here in about 30 minutes or so. The government say they have provided a whole range of measures, including £2 million to charities to make the alterations needed to those community centres in order to provide single-room accommodation. But as you heard there, it sometimes is not enough.
OK, Thomas, thank you.